Well, it's about 4:30 p.m. right now, and as such I decided, I'm gonna record myself visiting Route 22 and getting to the reception gate because Janine is waiting over there right now to give me her phone number. So I decided, why not kill two birds with one stone? So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be meeting up with Janine inside the reception gate. You have to come from Route 22 in order to be able to meet her, though. Yeah, she's there between 4 and 6 p.m. every day. So there we go. We're back at the reception gate. And from now on, I'm going to be able to get to Viridian City directly through the reception gate. Not that it really matters because I could just fly there anyway. And as you just saw, there's absolutely nothing of interest on Route 22. No joking. This is literally all it was. So now I have both of the Kanto gym leader phone numbers that I can get without defeating Blue, because all of the others at least require defeating Blue before you can actually get those phone numbers. And wait a minute, was I just acknowledged as the champion? The thing that usually isn't ever acknowledged? Well, it doesn't matter anyways, I'm going to show you. You can now head straight to Viridian from the reception gate. So there you go. Okay, welcome back. Today is Thursday, so I can come by the south entrance of Viridian Forest and grab Bugsy's phone number while I'm at it. So, yeah, we're doing some decent progress with those gym leader phone numbers. I think I have 8 right now. And, okay, we can battle around lunch on Thursdays. Okay, so now that this is done, I'm going to fly back to Pallet Town since we still had to check out them. Okay. Well, I wonder why I can't fly from here, unless the trees are really that much of an obstruction. But okay, whatever. It's not like I can't get out quickly. But yeah, as I was about to say, we still had to check out Professor Oak's lab. For the time being, there's nothing too interesting there. Though we're going to be coming back there a few times during the post game. So. Raising Pokemon, they serve as my private guards. Well, this actually sounds really cool, having your Pokemon as private guards. And Cameron the photographer. I believe I actually checked not long ago how many photos I had, and because I was worried that I might be running out of space, and apparently that's not the case. This was my 12th one, I believe. And if I'm not mistaken, this guy... Yes! Technology is incredible! You can now trade Pokemon overseas like email. So, yeah, the technology is incredible was hiding all the way over there in Pallet Town. Okay, just between you and me, the professor's show is not live radio. Really? I have a hard time believing that because it sucks so much that if it's even rehearsed on top of that, yeah, but then again I could sort of buy that because there's a channel dedicated to this show 24/7, and I'm pretty sure Professor Oak and Mary need to eat, sleep, and shit like everyone else. So, what do you think of the trainers out here? Pretty tough. Well, they're tougher than in Johto, but that's only because of purely gameplay reasons, because I don't think there's anything in the actual game lore that says Kanto's trainers are superior. And yes, he's going to have a gift for me when I get all the gym badges, rather. Sorry about that. It's going to be the Rock Climb HM. And apparently I have 36 Pokemon caught already. I thought it would be less than that, but oh well, let's see if there's anything interesting on there. Hi, Professor Oak. How is your research coming along? I'm doing fine. I heard that Jeff is getting quite a reputation. That's what we hear on the grapevine. I'm delighted to hear that. Elm in New Bark Town, and Professor Elm uses smileys in his emails? Whoa, never thought of him to be the kind of guy to do that. So, now, we are officially done in Pallet Town for the time being. So, let's head south to whatever remains of Cinnabar Island. There are a few trainers on the way, so we're going to be beating them up as usual. Oh, by the way, a few of you guys told me, about this whole problem with the YouTube subscriptions and such where videos wouldn't show up. Apparently, it's mostly for my Banjo-Kazooie videos, because some of you guys told me that you had no problem seeing my Pokemon videos at all, but when it comes to Banjo-Kazooie, it's a lot more difficult. And I could believe that because the view counts for my Banjo videos are a lot lower than my Pokemon ones. Now, I don't think this has to do with this simply being a less popular LP, because even when I started this LP, I mean Banjo-Kazooie, I didn't have any problems with that. And now that this is happening, you can see a massive difference. Oh, you want to play that game? You want to play that game, huh? Well, two can play that game. How would you like it if I send in a water-absorbed Pokemon? Because guess what? I have one! And, aha! Foiled ya! Yeah, switching in a Pokemon that's immune to the incoming move happens a lot competitively, but it happens a lot less in-game for rather obvious reasons, mostly because the AI is a bit more erratic and difficult to predict, but still. By the way, something that I figured out on my own, oddly enough for once, is that on Route 2, there are two segments, if you will. One south of Viridian Forest, and one north of Viridian Forest. Now, the part that's south of Viridian Forest has two trainers named Doug and Rob. Now, remember when I said that all the way over on Route 40 they actually called the American Idol judges before American Idol even existed? Well, if the names Doug and Rob ring any bells, well, then it's perfectly normal because I'm talking about that guy with the glasses. Because, yeah, you got Doug Walker, the genius behind the madness, and then you got Rob, who helps write the scripts for the videos, make the occasional appearance. So, yeah, basically, what I'm getting at, and this isn't just a Hard Gold Soul Silver thing, it was there all the way back in Gold Silver Crystal as well, and Gold Silver had its international release in the year 2000, which is how many years before that guy with the glasses got started? Several years, at least 6, maybe even 7. I would probably need to check that up. But my point is, Pokemon Gold and Silver are really creepy. They called the American Idol judges ahead of time, and they did the same thing for that guy with the glasses as well. Wow! Of course, this could be this definitely is a bizarre coincidence because I don't believe in supernatural things and such, but still, it's pretty funny when you stop and think about it. But enough of that, moving on to something else. Yesterday I was talking about the new suspect testing method, and there's been some progress since I talked about it yesterday. This morning, JabbaTheGriffin came out with a post saying that the Council of Three, if you will, decided that Emerald Deoxys would now be Uber, which was a fairly predictable outcome because just looking throughout the forum thread, you could get the feeling that the people who were in favor of a ban defended their case a lot better than those who didn't. Emerald Deoxys, if you're not familiar with it, is fantastic at giving their team the tempo right off the bat by either setting up dual screens or laying down entry hazards, and it's so fast that it's almost guaranteed to be able to do one of those two things, depending on the set that it's using. And as a result, of course it means a significant advantage, especially for hyper-offensive teams that would absolutely love being behind dual screens right off the bat, because that means that they're going to be that much harder to kill, at least in the early game. And what's worse is that it's extremely difficult to taunt because it's so fast. The Pokemon that had the easiest time taunting it was banned recently, and I'm talking about Thundurus. So now if you want to taunt Emerald Deoxys, you're stuck with Tornadus, Whimsicott, and Sableye, all of which are much less appealing than Thundurus for very obvious reasons. So I'm going to post a link to JabbaTheGriffin's post explaining his reasoning, but personally it's not something that I'm going to complain about because, as I said, those who were against the ban had a much harder time defending their case. Most of them cited, move slot syndrome because, it can't really be laying down hazards or taunting and dual screening all at the same time. Nonetheless, Emerald Deoxys is one of those Pokemon and I'm going to quote JabbaTheGriffin almost verbatim here, is that it does its job extremely easily, and once it's done its job, then the team using Emerald Deoxys is going to be at an immediate advantage right off the bat. Now, someone in that thread made an interesting point, being that when Excadrill was banned, there was really nothing left to take its place, because other than Stoutland, and it's a normal type to boot, nothing could really imitate what Excadrill did, and even their Stoutland does a pretty sloppy job of it. But when it comes to supporters like Emerald Deoxys, for example, there are plenty of Pokemon that can take its place in case it's banned. So it's going to be interesting to see what all these Emerald Deoxyses are going to become and how many are just going to give up on that style of Pokemon entirely because none of them are as effective as Emerald Deoxys in the first place. A lot of people have been bringing up Deoxys-E and Azelf as potential replacements, which is actually it would actually be pretty cool to see these two get some spotlight again, because they lost a lot in the generational shift. So we might be in for a late year surge from one or both of these two. But back to the whole process of suspect testing, there's one question that I have, and that's, could potential unbans ever be in the cards? Because with the old system, people could vote, could actually nominate Pokemon for voting on unbans. Now this happened only once, I believe, for Ruby and Sapphire Deoxys, and that's something that personally I agreed with, that it at least needs to be given its chance, because it was banned at the exact same time as Fire Red Deoxys, which is just about better in every way. But since they were both banned in the same round, then that means that in that round, just about everyone was using Fire Red Deoxys, and no one really bothered with the Ruby Sapphire form. And as a result, the Ruby Sapphire form was banned as well, without any real testing in an environment where Fire Red Deoxys is gone. So that's what I'm wondering. Could something like that ever happen? Another Pokemon that I like to see up for study is Who, just because, well, it seems to be a weak link among the Uber tier. I don't really think it deserves to be unbanned outright, but that's still something that should be looked into. I mean, last gen, there were several Pokemon that we just took for granted that they were Uber, and they were never tasted, wow, such as Mew and Leaf Green Deoxys, and now they were unbanned at the beginning of this generation, and both are underused now. So, that's why I would like to see these two tested, if only because they're only gone purely because of Theorymon right now. And looking at Cam Studios' timer tells me this is the time for me to call it quits, so next time we're going to make our way to the remains of Cinnabar Island.